Hey all you heroes out there, and welcome to Hell Yeah Gaming as I react to, well, less a reaction and more of a detailed breakdown of the Elden Ring DLC Shadow of the Erdtree gameplay trailer. We got so much jam-packed in here. I watched this so many times, saw a few other people's reactions to it, and knew that as soon as I got home and my son was in bed and asleep, I had to jump on this. It is face-meltingly exciting. I am so hyped, so pumped. So, without further ado, let's dive on into things so I can show my own personal thoughts and feelings on how things are, and some real detailed analysis, or as detailed as I can make it. So of course we begin here with these feet under this sort of skirt here. I'm not sure who this is supposed to be, but you know, clearly we're in the Mohg's palace, and we got Miquella in his cocoon over here. This is pure and radiant. He wields love to shrive clean the hearts of men. I had to look up what shrive means, and it is basically boils down to how a priest listens to the confession of sins in order to absolve you of your sins. So here it is stating, you know, that Miquella is so pure that his love purifies and absolves men of the evil in their hearts and their sins. And of course we jump right here to, you know, the up close personal Miquella's arm hanging out of his cocoon where Mohg did his nasty interference there. There is nothing more terrifying, which, you know, brings to mind how Miquella has been described in the universe as the most terrifying of the Empyreans, or the most powerful, the most fierce. That's it. The most fearsome of the Empyreans is what they said. And this whole thing reminds me of, you know, how the bewitching branch is something that he created. You use it to hex enemies and bring them under your control. Something, you know, definitely very frightening. Now this shot right here, oh my goodness, absolutely beautiful, gorgeous. We have, of course, the Erdtree as another tree is, you know, wrapping around, suffocating it, strangling it, which is an iconic image from the original teaser that we got, as it's kind of bleeding out that golden gray sap. The sky looks like it's kind of made of fabric or something, like it's got drapes of fabric going on. This layout here doesn't really look like anything that we've seen before, at least nothing that comes to mind except for possibly Liurnia. But that, as we'll soon to see, this definitely is gotta be something completely different. Now, in that forsaken place, blood must spill. So we have ourselves here, this dark red sky here, this very cool looking armor that I definitely like. Now, in this place, in this forsaken place, is just talking about the Shadowlands in general, or something more specific. I'm not sure, but it's very very interesting, to say the least. Now, this guy right here, you know, super heavy armor. He's like looking over, holding a pot or jar. Doesn't look like it's the same design as like the living jars that are used to store, corpses. But it is still curious all the same, as well as this spiraling pillar in the background, and then we can see another, you know, two more, really, that it seems the spiral pattern seems to be built into the architecture of the area. Can't wait to see what Tarnished archaeologist has to say about that. But then this here transitions to this, you know, this field of purple flowers, which seems to bring to my mind, you know, Saint Trina, and Saint Trina's lilies. This individual here with this like white porcelain-looking mask kind of deal. Unconscious here. Doesn't look like they're dead, but, sleeping on, which is exactly what the whole St. Trina stuff is all about. And of course, anybody who has, dived in deep into the lore will be aware that Miquella and St. Trina are the same person. Now, we get transitioned directly into this sort of looks like a totally ravaged and ruined sort of throne room, or perhaps like a religious room, like a church or something. But what you can really see around here is that we got the telltale purple flames of St. Trina's fire, that, if I recall correctly in the base game, really, that fire is only on St. Trina's torch. But regardless, it's, fire that causes sleep. But boom, this individual, difficult to tell kind of who this is supposed to be. It looks a bit androgynous to me. Could be, male or female here. I like to describe them as like a wizard pope, it looks like. A popey wizard or something. So I'm not really sure what this person is, or what they play into, who they are. But, we have this narration, the blood of your fellows. And then the Erdtree faithful, as we transition to a very traditional From Software style swamp with, my god, this just looks absolutely gorgeous and also terrifying. All this and disgusting, but beautiful. So putting it all together, that's in that forsaken place. Blood must spill, the blood of your fellows, the Erdtree faithful. So in either some specific location or in the Shadowlands, we have blood must be spilled of the Tarnished, your fellows, and the Erdtree. Or the Erdtree faithful, those who believe in the Erdtree. So, whoever is speaking this narration clearly don't have a very high opinion on the Golden Order, as it were. Not super happy with that sort of thing. But we combine that with how we've got, our wizard pope here. And it seems to me like it's telling us that there's this other anti-Erdtree, anti-Golden Order faction that is aligned with or founded by St. Trina, who is Miquella, which is very, very interesting. Very interesting indeed. And I'm looking over at my notes every time you see my head kind of pop over. Okay, so now we have this portrait here with, I am, 98% sure that this individual with that looks all young, kind of feminine, draped everything, got this golden hair. This is Miquella. I am all but 100% certain, based on what we've seen with the statues in Erdtree and some other evidence, that I feel like it's fairly inarguable that this individual's Miquella. But this one, this person right here, looks like that Miquella's got his hand on the shoulder right here. That's a very familiar touch there. So they are definitely close. This person looks like he's elderly or ill or something. But it's kind of hard to tell any other details about this individual. But we can make out their cloak clasp right here, which I want to see if I can sort of zoom in, because Zyostorm did say that he was... Oh, okay. Nope, that does not work. Well, that's no bueno. Zyostorm was saying that, like, it looks like the symbol on St. Trina's torch, which, if I'm getting in there, like, way closer, I don't think it does, but I do see similarities, and I can see where you would think that with if you didn't have them side by side to compare, or, like, could look up real close onto. But in any case, yeah, this person, clearly they're very close to Mikola. Mikola's got some kind of relationship with them. But now here we are in a big open, like, pit chamber. We got all of these jars, all of these pots hanging by chains all over the place. Now, this vast chamber, I get the feeling that, like, there's going to be a secret at the very bottom, like where you find the two fingers of the frenzied flame. Or is it the three finger? I forget if the good one is the 3 or the 2. I forget which one's which. Anyway, I feel like you're gonna have to do some hardcore parkour, rolling from pot to pot, like, to get all the way down to find some kind of major secret. But as for, like, what could actually be going on here and what all of this means, I really have no idea. That there's just, like, so much going on there. Then, we have our player walking up this big, partially knocked over pillar, still hanging from some huge chains in this pit of lava. It's not a lot of context, not much setup here. Just seems to be a set piece as far as I can tell. But then, oh my god. Oh, I love this shot so much. Look at that cliffside castle. No, and it's like a peninsula cliff kind of going up here. Goes way up with these towers, and it looks like we got some, like, anti-gravity situation going on. Either that or falling rocks, but I would assume probably more the anti-gravity, with these all, like, bits of roll kind of all on there. It doesn't necessarily look like a piece of Farah Missoula, but who knows? Maybe it could be. But we have ourselves, our narration continuing. They were never saints. They just happened to be on the losing side of a war. Now, there's a lot that can be said here and read into, I think. They were never saints. Well, the only name that includes saint to my recollection is Saint Trina. So, are we saying they were never saints, as in Trina and Mikola being as they're the same person with two different identities? Or are we saying, like, Saint Trina has a whole group, a whole faction that are all known as saints? That's very interesting to me, which it would tie back into this idea where it seems like Mikola or Saint Trina has this whole group that's very anti-Golden Order, but then they just happen to be on the losing side of a war. What war would that be exactly? The lands between have been basically in non-stop wars since time immemorial, so there's a lot that could happen there. However, it's very difficult to try to place any kind of conflict there, just based on the idea that we've pretty much got all the battles and wars more or less accounted for, and none of them seem to relate here in any way. So I'll leave it to others to decide, like, where you think that's going. If this is something that we have seen before, or if this is just completely brand new information. Because, like I said, the lands between have been embroiled in war for as long as can be. Now, what we have here, giant ass Wicker Man. And this boss, I love this. And we can see, like, arms and bodies, like, sticking out as it's in blaze. So, For those of you unaware, a wicker man is a big statue made of, wicker, used by ancient Celtic druids as a sacrifice to their gods. And the way that would normally... Dog's chewing on a toy next to me. The way that would normally, work is, they construct this big effigy of a human-looking statue, and then they would put their sacrifices in it. Usually, some harvest or some livestock. There are some reports that there was human sacrifices involved, but those are more or less, to my understanding, unsubstantiated and rooted in imperialism. But then they would set it ablaze, burn it to go to their pagan gods. That is hardcore, and I love it. And since the Lands Between have had a lot of Celtic influence going into its mythology, boom, Wicker Man, we can see these, we got all these individual bodies, like their limbs kind of hanging out. Boo, 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 boo. Reminds me of Lies of P and the very first boss carnival puppet that has a cage on its back that's some human bodies like dangling inside of it. But in any case, this thing is up in a blaze of fiery glory. So I think that this just really pushes forward more that this is another faction very anti Erdtree, and this is like their method of delivering kind of the message of what it is that they want to do. Like these are probably Golden Order believers that are stuffed into this Wicker Man golem here. And fire is like universally considered like bad, the enemy of the Erdtree in like all of its forms. Dog shake. So I would bet that this Wicker Man kind of like ties in as like an effigy of the Erdtree itself and what this faction plans to do. Now, boom, what we have here, not necessarily anything particularly telling, but we got this like big, horrific, like humanoid leech monster that I'm just like really into. I don't think there's anything here to look at other than just a display of a new enemy. But it's freaking hardcore, and I love this thing. Oh, but now we are really getting into something absolutely crazy. Just bonkers here that I am very much wanting to really get some answers on, because this thing is fascinating here. We'll play it a little bit more so we can kind of see. Boom! So, what we got here looks like a beast lion sort of face, like Serosh, which Godfrey's spirit beast. But then we very clearly saw, this thing's covered in omen horns, and we very clearly saw like big omen feet under there, right? So now as we look closer here, we can see that our beast guy has animal teeth, animal fangs kind of around here. Hey, we got Sneakers. Sneakers is getting involved in now. So we can see, speaking of beasts, so we got these, beast fangs right here. But then if you look closely, there's also more human-like teeth right behind them. So it seems like what we have here is an omen wearing a beast like as like a skin, or potentially it could be like the omen version of the beast people. Not really sure how this works or how that would be. That said, the omens are a sign of the crucible, the time when all of life was blended together. And as we're going to see further on, there's a lot more signs of like omenhood and the crucible and beastliness that seems like it's going to play a really big major part. So I don't know if this like crucible group is part of the Saint Trina or Mikola faction, or if this is another group entirely. But as we continue forward, there had that big ol' chomp. So this thing clearly is able to like use that beast jaw it's got. That is not just like cosmetic. It is opening wide and it is going to take a chunk out of you. But now look at this, as it seems to be like that to me looks like it's breathing death blight. At least in my humble opinion, it looks like it's breathing out death blight smoke. I could very well be wrong, but it also seems to me, and then this I think I have a little bit less justification to say, but it looks like we have, coiled up death blight roots behind and like above this chimeric creature. So that's a very fascinating connection, but not as fascinating as boom, lightning. It just straight up summons lightning, which as anyone who's even passingly familiar with Elden Tree lore should realize, lightning is the domain of the ancient dragons. Okay. So this thing appears to be a combination of a beast man, an omen, with death blight and dragon magic? Like, this thing is like all over the place. What's happening? I have no idea. Like, the beastmen of Faramazula, they worshipped and served the ancient dragons and were granted intelligence by said ancient dragons. Okay. So is this like an omen beastman that was granted, power in addition to intelligence? Or is this something else entirely? Another completely different idea I possibly had is that this could be the Shadow Beast Guardian of Mikola, as all Empyreans get their Shadow Beasts, Blythe to Rani, Malekith to Marika. Maybe this is supposed to be Mikola's Shadow Beast. We do know that, after abandoning the Golden Order, Mikola started looking into other avenues of power to try to, solidify his own power base and to find a cure for his sister Melania's rot. Potentially he shoved all of that, into his Shadow Beast? I don't know. I don't know, but there's a lot to take in that it could potentially be. That's all I'm saying. But now we get the man stealing the show. We get our first look here of Mesmer the Impaler. Oh boy. Just womb. Mother, wouldst thou truly lordship sanction in one so bereft of light? Now, there's a lot to unpack there, but there's a lot to unpack all around here. So let's just take a couple more looks. So here he is, got some fire. There's a lot to say there. He's got snake action going on. A long kind of, I'm not sure what to call this weapon, but it's like a long spear handle, or rather, it's like a sword hilt, but elongated to like a spear shaft length, with with a blade at the end that resembles flame. Okay. And right here, we can clearly see a dragon wing that is definitely part of his body. It is moving along with him. Then, bada bing, bada boom, we have yellow slitted eyes. So, that could either be taken as like a sign of dragon communion, or perhaps it's just another thing tying in with a snake theme. But, holy guacamole. Back it back up here again. It's so much to talk. So the fire is the first thing I want to touch on. Fire, in almost all of its incarnations that we've seen in Elden Ring, is a power granted by an outer god. So, and each flame, looks and operates very differently. So we have the black flame of destined death, stolen by the gloam-eyed queen at one point, used to kill gods. All right. We have the frenzied flame of madness, which, it's a bright yellow flame that instills madness from the frenzied flame god. Then we have Mohg's blood flame from the Blood Mother, I think she was called. I completely spaced on that. I'll have to double check. But that's flame that ignites from Omen blood, or specifically his blood, but probably any Omen, I would assume, or any practitioner. Then we have the flame of the fell god, which is that deep red, and from the fire giants. So, the question here being, is Mesmer's flame also granted by an outer god? If so, which one? Or is it a brand new one? So let's take a quick look at how this looks. It starts by being conjured from a amorphous black blob. It gets all misty, super deep red, that ignites into a deep red / orange, then spreads up. Now, this looks a lot like the flame of the fell god to me, which, if we also compare his red hair, is very fire giant-esque. However, red hair is certainly not a signifier of the fire giants exclusively. Radagon has red hair and passed it on to all of his children except for Mikola. So, when we take a look at, the fire, the snake motif going on, and the red hair, this guy does seem to have some fairly obvious connections to Rykard. Or does he? Because, well, he's speaking to his mother. Mother, wouldst thou truly lordship sanction in one so bereft of light? So he's asking his mother if she would if she's really going to grant lordship to someone not part, I assume, speaking of the Tarnished, is my best educated guess that I think's got a pretty high likelihood of being, accurate. The only individuals who are capable of granting lordship are Empyreans who've taken the mantle of full godhood. Well, there's only one of those, Marika. So, is he speaking about Marika? Seems pretty open and shut. Marika had yet another child that we weren't aware of. The red hair would signify that if that's the case, she had him with Radagon, her other self, just like Mikola and Melania. After all, without that, Empyrean godhood status, there's no reason that he would be able to ask such a thing of Ranni, because if you recall, and those out there who don't know, you can find Ranni's original body, and yes, she did inherit the red hair of her father, Radagon. I mean, Ranni has made it clear that she wishes to establish an entirely new order, wholly separate from the Erdtree and the Golden Order, governed by the stars. So he really couldn't be talking about her. I highly doubt that she's his mother. Melania, she could fit the bill there as well. However, she has absolutely zero aspirations to ascend to, true godhood. She is entirely settled on serving as the right hand to her twin brother Miquella. So, highly doubt that he'd be talking to Melania. Like, she's just not taking that mantle, taking that seat, to then be able to bless a lord. But I feel like there is one Empyrean out there who could potentially fit the bill that is not Marika. One who he could be speaking to as his mother, and that is Miquella himself. So hold on there before you get your pitchforks there. We are aware that Saint Trina and Miquella are, Saint Trina is Miquella's alter ego. However, we also know that Radagon is Marika, and it's not a simple alternate alter ego, another identity. Radagon is his own person, who is also Marika, sharing the same body. And so, why can that not be the same case for Miquella and Saint Trina, right? That's what I'm thinking. So, perhaps Miquella, inherited his mother's golden hair, and Saint Trina inherited her father's red hair. And we know for a fact Miquella was definitely very ambitious in wanting to take the mantle of a full Empyrean god. I mean, he, when he decided the Golden Order wasn't gonna cut the mustard for that, he tried to create his own Erdtree and looked into all these other sources of power, looking in ways to completely cut out outer gods, wanting to, and wanted to ascend to godhood himself. So he absolutely could fit that bill, I think. I think that Mesmer could be referring to Miquella, or, more accurately, Saint Trina in this regard. Which leads me into something that's going to pop up a bit later that I think, it could be Miquella / Saint Trina who lures the player in to begin with. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Next we just get kind of a bunch of quick back-to-back shots showing off new enemies, weapons, abilities. So like right here, we got some new items, new swords and Ash of War situation, fighting looks to be some omens carrying like these candelabras, like 7 layered candles here. Pretty cool, pretty interesting. And we got some fire getting shot off from there. Some kind of like rapid fire throwing daggers being fired off at this black spirit type individual. Now this one, okay, big charge up spell. All those purple butterflies and big explosions. Very interesting, very cool. But I think. Ooh, no, I didn't mean to go that far. But I think perhaps maybe one of the more interesting aspects is what we're seeing happen here. Because this is at the base of a withered kind of tree here. We have these statues of beasts going on here. So I think that's tying like further into beasthood, the crucible kind of situation. Will be interesting to see like what's up with these purple butterfly spells. And then these enemies kind of getting exploded. Cool. Now, everybody was kung fu fighting. I love that. Boom, 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 boom. So, I love this. I don't know if this is just like one item or if this is going to be like a new class built into the DLC. But I love this. This is awesome. Doing some awesome kung fu fighting. We got like a Kung Lao hat here. Want to see him like fatality. Saw with it. This is some kind of, humanoid knight boss. As we can tell, it's a boss because of the fog door over here, who appears to be wielding a twin blade, one blade on each side. So he's Darth Mauling this up while he's getting kung fu'd in the face. Love it. Very eager to see where this goes. Like that just looks like a really cool boss, and probably one that I'm going to be very upset with. Rage at. Now we got the big guns. Big ass bombs that we could just chuck. Look at that. Look at that. What the heck? Love it. Love it. And, the last shot that we get here, just like this rapid fire machine gun crossbow. I assume that they just used fire bolts as their ammunition, and that this isn't a natural aspect of this rapid fire crossbow. But wow, some stuff that is just really cool. Now we have our narration coming back in again. I presume you too are keen to know just what kind Miquella is doing here. Now, as we'll talk about what's on screen here, but that's a feminine voice speaking that. I think it's the same individual that we see at the very beginning, who is in front of Miquella's cocoon there. And in my personal opinion, I want to say that this is like Saint Trina, or the spirit of her, who's like reaching out to the player using the mystery of Miquella and the Shadowlands that he is fled to or created, to lure the player in order to use them to further their agenda, which I think ties back into Mesmer saying like, Mother, grant lordship to one so bereft of light. This is, I'm saying I think that this is potentially Saint Trina picking you, pulling you in, and then going through all of this, you could potentially end up having, a new, either establish a new order altogether or get another rune to mend the Elden Ring with. Now, as for what we're actually seeing here on screen, we've got ourselves this looks like a big bear roar, but more than that, like we can clearly see our, the player's body underneath like this roaring bear head. It's like it's a spell manifesting the same as like the dragon spells, where like the big dragon spits out, does its roar, or spits out its fire, or whatever. So like we seem to be having like beast spells, very similar to the dragon spells. Fascinating. Again, I think like, tying back into the whole crucible thing. And this bear spirit has horns on it, which again, crucible. But now, here we are, player fighting this like dancer woman in red in what looks to me like, a little pocket dimension spirit realm sort of thing, like similar to an Everjail, where we got that's what the coloration really says to me, with the flowers and the way everything else is like a washed out gray. Really reminds me of how the key to getting to the Erdtree portal, it was hidden in an Everjail. that tells me that this is something that Mikola like makes a habit of doing, hiding his plans or aspects of what he's trying to do, like in pocket dimensions or Everjails. As for this lady that the player is fighting, I'm not really sure what to make of her other than very Red Riding Hood in this particular image. Kind of like looks a bit like the what I imagine we would see from like the Blue Dancer charm, but that's a whole other deal. I'm not really sure how that would tie in at all. Let me kind of rewind a bit to like the last couple frames of that shot. Okay. Yeah, no, I wasn't seeing anything there that I thought something grabbed my eye that was like, oh, something I just noticed. No, there wasn't anything. But now this dude appears to be kind of like a reskinned tree sentinel, except instead of riding a horse, he's riding like a armored giant boar or pig, and that's scary. In addition, his lance here is, covered in purple lightning. And of course, purple being the signature color of Saint Trina and Trina's sleep. Lightning, of course, being ancient dragons. That just kind of like goes back to what I was saying before about like how Mikola looked into other avenues of power before. So perhaps, Mikola pulled in from the ancient dragons as well, and then as Saint Trina like put that twist on the lightning to make it all their own. And also that's scary, but not as scary as this thing. We got like a giant furry hippo monster, which, fun fact, hippos are the most dangerous animal on Earth to humans. Look at how wide that beastly mouth is opening, but it gets better because whoop, psh, look at that. Casting that magic right there, it sprouts this whole porcupine needle thing, except if we really look at it, these are tree branches with thorns. They're not like porcupine quills or anything like that. They're tree branches covered in thorns, which again I'm gonna say is like hearkening back to the whole crucible situation, the blending of all life. Now this mofo, I really don't know what to make of it other than like this enormous skeletal or emaciated troll. Looks like he could potentially be headless with some sort of worm and with like worm-like appendage coming out of the neck, tipped with this blue ball. I have no idea what's going on there, but it's clearly throwing a bone meringue. That's very funny. And the whole area, the coloration here is normally what's reserved for those who live in death. And it is riding this kind of, pale horse, kind of like forcing itself to dredge forward. From certain angles, this thing looks like it could be a scythe or such. So, if we want to go back to our biblical mythology that a lot of From Software draws from, then the Pale Rider, the last of the four horsemen. His name is Death. Now, here, this is very, very important. This guy, if you notice, if you look close, it's the same one as the portrait with Mikola from way earlier. Boom. Same clasp on the cloak and everything. Like, that is... Nelly. And this thing, like, plunged through his skull, sticking out from him looks like a branch of the Erdtree to me, like where it's branching out with these various thorns. He's trying to like pull it up, and his head's coming off with it. But then we get into more of the narration, which we have some very crucial, very critical pieces here. Those stripped of the grace of gold shall all meet death. As we go ahead and get more imagery of Mesmer the Impaler with his wicked blade here. And the snake just like coiled, wrapped all around him. Just and leaping whoosh, in the embrace of Mesmer's flame. So, right off the bat, this tells us that Mesmer the Impaler is specifically an assassin or killer of the Tarnished. Those who are not part of the Erdtree or the Golden Order's belief or not blessed by it, he will do some unaliving. But then, Mesmer's flame, very interested to see like where it comes from, what its source is, what its importance is. This attack, as we can see this whole boss fight, like I'm very actually interested to see how this all goes, just based on, as we can see, it's like some kind of like big open cathedral area. We've got all of these ritual candles scattered everywhere along the floor and along the different walls here. He does his jump. He comes down with his blade. Explosion of fire. Shing! Ow. All of these, like sword, spear blades, like fire shooting up with the flame explosion. Wow. And then this look right here, guys. This right here. That is someone who's gonna kick some ass. Oh, but with that really long, like unnaturally long arm, his offhand reaching out, grabbing the Tarnished by the neck, holding him up, doing a big like a geyser of flame, like erupting him up. Like the force of that has got to be ridiculous. Like, this is absolutely our new super boss. This is our new Melania, right? This is our Orphan of Cross for this DLC for sure. Mesmer the Impaler. Wow. Then of course we have ourselves our narration saying, "Come now, touch the withered arm and travel to the realm of shadow," which is 100% confirming that yes, we are entering the DLC in Mohg's palace by accessing Miquella's body there. Now there he goes doing a sword slash flame, shooting out some flame. Then we have the Tarnished avoiding it with what I'm gonna call probably a crucible spell. These golden wings sprouting, flying up. Then narration continues, "I will not be far behind. May we meet again." Which is leading back into what I was saying before, how I think that this is Saint Trina or Saint Trina's spirit luring the player into the Shadowlands to like manipulate towards becoming Miquella's lord or her lord. That is my current theory, my current idea and plan, and that's what I'm sticking to. So ultimately, what I think it's all gonna be coming down to is, boom, that right there, psh. Actually, you know what? We'll save what I'm thinking for one more moment. Very clearly Mikola, like no doubt that is supposed to be Mikola. Here we have, this image of the one tree strangling the other, but the golden bright light behind it. Boom! Shadow of the Erdtree, June 21st. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Oh, so excited. And then if we look at the collector's edition here, a 46 centimeter statue of Mesmer the Impaler. The Shadow of the Erdtree soundtrack. Oh god, that statue gonna be just ooh. 40-page hardcover art book. Damn. Like I'm almost certainly going to pre-order the collector's edition because wow. Which just kind of brings me back to, okay, so my thoughts here on what ultimately this all is, what it all means, is that either at some point in the past, Saint Trina waged a war on the Erdtree, potentially, probably before the Shattering happened. And then the Shadowlands was created for Saint Trina to reside in, and for her forces to flee into. Thus, that's where Mikola's spirit also went to after the whole Moog effing up his evolution dealio. But as a result of the whole, warring on the Erdtree situation, Marika sends Mesmer the Impaler in to and get rid of this whole Saint Trina uprising. That is what I'm feeling. That's what I'm thinking. And then Mikola is unable to reconstitute himself, as it were, within this dreamland, within this realm of sleep, the Shadowlands, until Mesmer is taken out. That is what I'm thinking largely. That, or I am completely 100% wrong on everything that I've said. None of it matters. And we'll all find out on June 21st. So thank you so much for sticking with me for this. I know this has been a long one, but I had a lot to say, and I still have a lot to say. I really didn't get everything out that I wanted to get out there. But I gotta draw the line somewhere. So thank you so much for watching. I will definitely be playing this, and I will probably be streaming it. And just so you're aware, I'm going to be having a live stream on my birthday, March 1st, in order to celebrate. And I'll be doing a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time randomizer for it, so come join me on my Twitch channel for that. And without further ado, hey, check out one of my other videos, and do all that, like button smashing and commenting and subbing and all that awesome good stuff that is very important for you to do. I know I'm super excited for Shadow of the Erdtree. I'm hoping that you are too, and that maybe I gave you some ideas with my own theory crafting. And if I did, well, I think that deserves itself a great big hell yeah!